Hello, my name is Dan Petrell with Maryland Realtors. Today we have an excellent panel from Freddie Mac and some special guests to talk about affordable product solutions. We have a Q&A box at the bottom, if you noticed. We encourage you to ask your questions, and towards the end of the seminar, Lori Benner, our Director of Housing Programs, who will be moderating today's event, will help field those questions with the Freddie Mac crew. We have a packed agenda, so at this point I will turn it over to Lori, and everybody enjoy. Lori.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Lori Benner, Director of Housing Programs at Maryland Realtors. Thank you for joining us on today's Maryland Realtors Thursday webinar series. During a time when first-time and middle-income buyers are challenged with affordability, innovative programs are critical. We'll hear from Jim Hall and Monica LaCrue with Freddie Mac, Joe Procopio with Fairway Mortgage, and Terry Catalano with the Maryland Mortgage Program. They'll share market trends and data and tools and resources to help you grow your business. So without further ado, Jim, please lead us off.
And Dan, thank you for everything that you've done. We really appreciate the time, and we appreciate that you taking the time out of your busy day to join us for this 90 minutes. We really had to make a pivot in today's society with the pandemic. Normally myself and my colleague Monica travel and do live events. We're on the road 60 to 80% of the time. But now, our lives are, in front of our computer screen now doing virtual webinars. And we really appreciate Maryland Realtors to, promote this event because we have a lot of important information to go over today, a lot of affordable product solutions. And we brought in two of our great business partners, Terry Catalano from the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development, and Joe Procopio from Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Prior to the pandemic, the Maryland DHCD had an awards ceremony in February, and myself and Lori were two of the speakers, and I got to meet Lori, and I got to meet Joe Procopio and Terry Catalano, and we spoke about possibly doing live events, and that was our goal. But 8 months later, here we are doing a virtual event. So we know that a lot has changed in the industry, especially for you being a real estate professional. You have virtual showings, virtual closings. On top of that, we had a refi boom, which has really, elongated the mortgage process now. Appraisers are jammed with, orders, title companies and lawyers are jammed, but we're all getting it done. And we're here to help the lower to moderate income folks, attain that American dream of first-time home ownership. So, our running order for speakers today, will be my colleague Monica LaCrue will start off. She has a lot of amazing demographics and statistics to share with you. You'll get a copy of this presentation, so Laurie and Dan will make it available to you so you don't have to jot everything down, because there's going to be a lot of numbers and web links. So please just sit back and relax and enjoy the information. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Monica.
Thank you, Jim. Good morning or afternoon, everyone on the East Coast. To start today, I'm going to do a little bit of a state of the housing market update for everybody. But first, I want to remind you, everyone, who Freddie Mac is. So Freddie Mac was chartered by Congress in 1970. So we're celebrating 50 years of making home possible. And we operate on what's called the secondary mortgage market. Now, what this means is that we don't lend money directly to consumers. We buy mortgages from our approved lenders, then we pull those mortgages into securities and then sell those securities to investors worldwide. Our mission is to promote liquidity, stability, and affordability in housing. Now, this mission rings true in both good and bad economic times, and you can obviously see that in today's market. We're dedicated to stabilizing communities, expanding credit responsibly, and supporting affordable rental housing. We have three main lines of business: single family, multifamily, and the capital markets. Now, we've been living with COVID-19, it seems like forever now. In March of 2020, unemployment reached historical levels and overall spending declined. But there's still optimism of an economic rebound. And the reduced economic growth that we're seeing right now is helping to keep inflation in check. Now, if we look at the housing market, we see inventory continues to be scarce, and the typical spring buying season was very delayed, and I'm sure you experienced that in your market. However, the government and Freddie Mac were quick to respond to COVID-19 by offering forbearance and pausing some evictions for some homeowners and renters. And the CARES Act that was passed earlier this year helped to mute the economic shock had on home prices. Now, I'm sure you listen to the news all the time, and mortgage rates continue to drop, and we've seen the lowest in years. Many homeowners are taking advantage of these rates. If you haven't done so already, I highly encourage you to reach out to your past clients to help them explore the options to refinance. Many people are still living at home with their offices and their schooling still being at home, and many people could be looking to add some extra space to accommodate this. So please reach out to your past clients, see if they're looking to add an extra room and sell the home that they're currently in right now. Over the summer, bellwether economic data like unemployment insurance claims and payroll employment growth have surprised many. And again, our outlook is relatively optimistic. Though the data is subject to change, we still project both total increase in both total home sales and prices going into 2021. Now that we have a quick snapshot of what the current home market looks like, we're going to turn a bit and take a look at what the current home buyer looks like. The overall demographics of the U.S. are shifting, and this slide shows the growing diversity amongst our population. Now, if we look at these two sets of bars, the second set, the ones showing the 18 to 39, that represents our millennial age group. Now, if we look at the colored bars, the dark blue, the orange, the yellow, and the green, that represents the diverse ethnicities here in the U.S. And we can see an increase across all of them. So basically, this means that the millennial population is going to be more diverse. Census data projects that by 2045, the non-Hispanic white population will shrink to 49.7%. It will no longer be the majority population in the United States. Now, according to NAR's 2019 profile of home buyers and sellers, the median average age of a first-time home buyer is 33, with an income level of $75,000 per year. Now, 1/3 of all buyers are making their first purchase. And of these buyers, 52% are aged 30 to 39, and 88% are aged 29 and younger. Now, we can see here on this slide that married couples still take up the larger piece of the pie when it comes to first-time home buyers, coming in at 54%. But what I want to draw your attention to is single female. Many millennials have delayed getting married and starting families, but single women still look to home ownership as a way to build wealth. First-time home buyers are typically using their savings for their down payments. Their first home is purchase price is a little over $200,000, and they plan to stay in their home for about 10 years. Now, to help better identify these potential home buyers, we coined the term mortgage ready. Now, we define a mortgage ready as a buyer who has a FICO score of 620 or higher, a total debt to income less than 25%. They should have no foreclosures or bankruptcies in the last 7 years and no severe delinquencies in the past 12 months. Now, based on this, there's 37 million people mortgage ready in the U.S. That's 24 million millennials, 4.3 million Asians, 7.8 million Hispanics, and 2.9 million African Americans. Now, obviously, this is definitely pre-COVID, and obviously, going forward to share as we continue to live in this pandemic. Now, if we look at the bottom right-hand corner of the slide here, we see that 1/3 of the older millennials and almost half of the younger millennials are ready to purchase based on our research. You'll also see a term, mortgage weak. Now, I don't want that to scare you. Mortgage weak could simply mean that these buyers don't have enough established credit. With a little coaching and education, these buyers can become mortgage ready as well. You know, we don't want anybody to miss out on these historical low mortgage rates that we're seeing now. So we're going to turn a bit and focus and spend the next few slides and talk about the opportunities in your market. Now, on this slide, we show the population and age comparison. It starts with the US, Maryland, and your local market. And we can see here, if we remember, first-time home buyers are aged anywhere between 29 and 39, and those are represented by the yellow and the green bars. And we can see here across all areas that population is very strong, with obviously Baltimore City seeing a large increase in those 25 to 34 buyers. Now, on this slide, we shows the average borrower income. Now, income is very important when considering purchasing a house. It's so important that it can actually dictate the type of loan product that you qualify for. And we can see here that, again, very healthy income levels across all local markets in your area. Now, this slide shows the owner occupancy rate. And we can see here, again, that home ownership is very strong in your local market, with obviously the big opportunity in Baltimore City. It seems to be about 50% owners and 50% renters there. And when I take a look at the slide, it just reminds me again that we really need you as a trusted advisor to be reaching out to your past clients to help them explore the options to refinance. You know, we are seeing a lot of multi-generational households form during this pandemic. Many millennials are going back home. They could be taking in relatives who might have been affected by the pandemic. And so they could be looking to add some extra space to their current homes. Also, people are working remotely. They can work from anywhere. People could be moving out to the suburbs to buy, again, a larger home to you know, to add extra space, basically. So, you know, we should definitely be ready for these migration patterns as we continue to live in this pandemic. Now, this slide shows the average the average credit score. And we can see here that, again, very healthy credit scores in your market, with Prince George and Baltimore falling below the average, the national average at 694. But again, if we remember how we define mortgage ready, the FICO score threshold that we identify is 620. And again, both Prince George and Baltimore City are above that 620. So, you know, the products that we covered today are catered towards or, you know, focusing on low to moderate income borrowers. And Freddie Mac is definitely dedicated to helping, you know, those potential buyers. Now, before we dive into the products, I want to highlight three key takeaways so far. You know, the outlook of the economy is optimistic. The future buyers are younger and more diverse. And if you haven't done so already, it's time to look to refinance. Now I'm going to pass it back to Jim. He's going to start diving into those products that we want to discuss today. So Jim, back to you.
Yes, thank you, Monica. That was great information. And like I said earlier, everyone, you'll get a copy of this presentation. So all those statistics and demographics that Monica covered, you'll have at your disposal. You'll be able to use them in setting your selling strategies in your market areas, and be able to put this into your toolkit. So again, thank you, Monica. Great presentation. What I want to talk about is housing finance agencies. I'm an affordable lending manager who focuses on housing finance agency relationships for Freddie Mac. My territory is the East Coast, so I handle all the housing finance agencies from Maine down to Florida. And my background, you know, prior to Freddie Mac was I worked at the New Jersey Housing and Mortgage Finance Agency for 12 years. I was the assistant director in their single family division. So I'm intimately involved with housing finance agencies and know how they work. But quite frankly, prior to me joining New Jersey Housing, I wasn't really sure what a HFA was. And so I'll give you a brief little history lesson to, you know, make it a little bit more clear for you where they fit into the lending and home buying ecosystem. Back in the mid-1960s, Lyndon Johnson was president, and he had a vision for America, and it was called the Great Society. And within the Great Society, he's most famous for the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, which he signed into law in 1964 and 1965. But part of the Great Society had a affordable lending component and a fair housing component. And Johnson's administration wanted to provide the opportunity to lower to moderate income folks a chance to attain the American dream of home ownership. But they knew they couldn't do it all on a federal level. So, they took this concept to the states and the counties and presented this to them. And out of that idea, housing finance agencies started to be created. My prior housing finance agency in New Jersey was created in 1967. Also through this wave, as Monica mentioned, Freddie Mac was created in 1970. So this is our 50th anniversary. And with that, we were created by Congress as a government-sponsored enterprise. And we're a mission-based organization that provides stability, affordability, and liquidity to the marketplace. So housing finance agencies are instrumentalities of government, and they also are mission-based. So Freddie Mac, to attain their affordable lending goals, looked at housing finance agencies as the perfect partner for them to really attain these goals and get that program and message out there to the marketplace. So Freddie Mac created a program called the HFA Advantage Program that is a specific program for lenders to use through housing finance agencies like Maryland DHCD. And lenders like Fairway Independent sign up with the HFA to use this program. Now, a lender like Fairway Independent cannot deliver this loan directly to Freddie Mac. Everything has to go through the housing finance agency. And Terry and Joe later in their discussion will work you through the process on how that's done. HFA Advantage Program is our 3% down program. So it's a 97% LTV. It allows for a second mortgage up to 105% total loan to value to be put behind this mortgage. It can have income limits and education requirements. The housing finance agencies set those guidelines. These loans have to be approved through our automated underwriting system, which is called Loan Product Advisor, or LPA is the acronym that's used for this. Looking at the slide that we have up in front of you right now, if you look all the way to the right, Freddie Mac really provides and prides itself in support and training for our housing finance agency partners and our lending partners and realtors like yourself. We have webinars like we're having today. When we're allowed to travel, we do in-person events. We have multiple postcards and flyers that you can use, and we will provide them to Lori and your association after this event to be able to distribute these items to you, so you can put them in your toolkit and use them as you see fit. Please advance the slide, Monica. Here are some of the highlights of the HFA Advantage program. Okay, it's for single family residences. It can be used for purchase or no cash out refinancing. The housing finance agency determines if they want to use it for either purchase money or cash out, no cash out refis, or both. As I had mentioned, it's a 3% down, 97% program. There's no reserves required. And again, the income limits and education requirements are determined by the housing finance agency. And we also have very, very flexible mortgage insurance on this program. We call it charter level mortgage insurance. And please advance the slide, Monica. And I'll go over the highlight of the lower MI on this program. As you can see on this chart, if you look to the right, a standard conventional loan at 97% LTV, the consumer pays 35% for their mortgage insurance. On the HFA Advantage program at 97%, 3% down, they pay 18%. So it's almost half of what they pay on a normal conventional loan. It's a tremendous savings for the consumer, and we're really proud to be able to offer this program for lenders to use through housing finance agencies to make it more affordable for the first-time home buyer. Advance the slide, please, Monica. So this slide indicates a comparison of the HFA Advantage Program versus an FHA loan. We all know FHA loans have their place, in the lending ecosystem, but they are quite costly for the consumer. When the HFA Advantage loan, mortgage insurance sunsets, and what I mean by that, it ends at 80% LTV. When an FHA loan, the mortgage insurance stays on for the life of the loan and costs the consumer thousands of dollars. On the HFA Advantage loan, we only have a monthly mortgage premium, and you saw that's at 18%. So it's a tremendous savings for the consumer. When an FHA loan, they have to pay the upfront premium, which can be quite costly, and their monthly mortgage premium, which is also costly to them. So if you haven't been aware of this program, please make a note of this and add this to your menu, because really all of us on this call today, Freddie Mac, people at the Maryland DHCD, Fairway Independent Mortgage, and realtors, we all have a fiduciary responsibility to the consumer to provide the best program possible for them. And if you're not presenting this program to the consumer, then here's your opportunity to do it. And please advance the slide. Along with the HFA Advantage program, Freddie Mac offers, two other programs, and Joe Procopio will do a deeper dive into them. Home Possible and HomeOne, they're both 3% down programs, but they're different than the HFA Advantage program. Home Possible, the area median income is capped at 80% LTV. Also, it does have flexible MI, but it's at 25% as opposed to the 18% that HFA Advantage offers. And you can do up to 4 units in Home Possible. Now, HomeOne is for 1 unit only. There's no income restrictions on HomeOne. So with that, the consumer for a 3% down, 97% LTV program pays the full 35%. And next slide, please. And at this time, I want to turn it over to Terry Catalano. The Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development is a great partner for Freddie Mac. They really promote the HFA Advantage program to their lenders and are doing a great job with it. So with that, I don't want to take too much of Terry's time. I'm going to turn it over to Terry so she can discuss the programs and services that the Maryland Mortgage Program has to offer. Terry?
Hello, how are you?
Okay.
I think I lost my screen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't see you.
I can't see you either. Hold on for a second. Sorry, I lost you again.
That's okay. On the bar on the bottom in the left-hand corner where it says stop video, if you can activate it there.
It wasn't activated.
There you go.
There you go.
Okay, you're back. Okay, it's all yours, Terry.
Thank you. Are you there? For some reason, I can't see the slides. Hello?
We can see you and we can see the slides. Right now, the slide says, "Who are we?"
So, okay. So right now, my name is Terry Catalano, and I am with the Department of Housing and Community Development. The Department of Housing and Community Development is the state of Maryland's housing department. It is a self-funded housing development, and we do that through the Maryland Mortgage Program. I think most of you know that the state of Maryland has a mortgage program. This mortgage program is done through approved lenders. You can advance. These are 30-year fixed rate mortgages. They are done through an approved lender. The approved lender would do the first trust. They would turn it over to the Department of Housing, and the Department of Housing would then provide the down payment and closing cost assistance. Home buyers who inquire about real estate agents are referred to Maryland Realtors HOC. So there's an HOC program that is done through Maryland Realtors. That is a 3-class credited program. This program does my MMP program. There is usually a credit program. Then when you finish this, these are credit hours, you go on to the MAR website as a realtor that is first-time home buyer. So if you ever get a chance to take these HOC classes, by all means take them. They are very beneficial. They will add to your portfolio and really help you to get buyers. Advance. These loans are 30-year fixed rate mortgages. They are done through a network of lenders. These lenders, there's about 125. Joe Procopio will be speaking to you later. He is one of these lenders, and it is to assist for down payment and closing cost assistance. You would have, in order to get this down payment and closing cost assistance, you would have to go through one of the Maryland Mortgage programs. Advance. Down payment and closing cost assistance would be a 0% interest loan. When we talk about this, this loan is a 0% interest loan. It does not get paid back to the house. Is either refinanced, the loan is closed out, or you sell the home. We also have grants. These grants are forgiven at closing. So as soon as you close, that grant is forgiven. Some products don't have down payment and closing cost assistance, but those programs are really rock bottom interest rates, very low interest rates. All of these programs are very low interest rates. They've enhanced all of the programs in the last 5 years, even through all of our COVID and when we have been so overwhelmed by business. Department of Housing, these girls in these underwriting departments have not been behind one day. They can turn these loans around in 48 hours to 72 hours with no conditions. If there are conditions, they turn it around in another 48 hours. So how it would work was you would have a buyer, and that buyer, you would talk to that buyer and say, so when are you thinking about purchasing? And they would say, well, maybe I'm waiting to save money. And you would say to them, well, the state of Maryland has money for these programs to assist you with down payment and closing cost assistance. I'm going to give you a website now, and I always suggest that you put this in your phone. The reason why I suggest you put this in your phone is because you will run into these buyers, and you will say to them, so when are you thinking about purchasing a home? And they will say, well, I'm waiting to save money. And you can hit your phone because it's always with you, and you can say, look, Maryland has money for you. So the website is mmp.maryland.gov, mmp.maryland.gov. So after you've spoken to those buyers, you would refer them to an approved lender. Joe Procopio, that you will be speaking to, he is an approved lender. You would refer them to the approved lender, and he would qualify your buyers, and then you would move from there. I'm going to give you some tools today to show you how you can work with the buyers to get them off the fence if they are on the fence about buying. Advance. All of these programs require home buying education. Homebuyer education is mandatory for all these, but they can now be done online. Advance. They used to have to be that they'd have to go to homebuyer counseling agencies. In some jurisdictions, they would have to do face-to-face, but that is no longer the case. They can now go online and do these programs. They have to be HFA approved. And you can find that online, the MMP website of where these classes are. But very easy now to get through these. They just go online, they take the classes. If there are 2 buyers, and they would both have to take the class, advance. Amazing products have come about for the Maryland Mortgage Program in the last couple of years. Before, you could only be a first-time home buyer. You had to be a first-time home buyer, but that is no longer the case. First-time home buyer is not a requirement for some of our products. The first product, the group of products you have are the MMP First-Time Advantage, and then you have a group called MMP Flex. This is dual track line products. So that means there's 2 dual track product lines. The Flex products, you do not need to be a first-time home buyer. The First-Time Advantage programs, you do have to be a first-time home buyer. Advance. First-Time Advantage Direct would be the product that you would use if you did not need down payment or closing cost assistance. Why would you even use those? Because those interest rates are rock bottom. They are amazing interest rates on those. So that would be the product that you would use. You would go into the Maryland Mortgage Program. You would talk to your lender and you would go through that product. First-Time Advantage 5,000 would be the product that you would use with partner match. I will talk about that. That would be $5,000 in a 0% interest loan. 0% interest loan. It does not get paid back till the property is sold, refinanced, or the loan is closed out, and you can use the partner match program with that. The First-Time Advantage 3%, I always say that this is your money maker. That would be 3% for down payment and closing cost assistance and a 0% interest loan. And remember, with all these programs, you can use seller concessions. You can also use jurisdictional money. If you have partner money, you can use partner money. We may not match it all, but you can use partner money with that. So remember that First-Time Advantage Direct, First-Time Advantage 5,000, and First-Time Advantage 3% loan. All of those are available to you. And remember, with that First-Time Advantage, you do have to be a first-time home buyer, but that interest rate is rock bottom. Advance. The MMP Flex loans. These would be the products that you would use if maybe your buyer had sold a house before and they now want to buy another house. Maybe they didn't get a lot of money out of that other house. They would like some assistance with this house. They cannot have any present ownership. They could have sold their house yesterday and settled on the new house tomorrow, and that would be fine. But they cannot have any present ownership. They cannot be on anybody's LLC. They cannot own land somewhere. No present ownership. The Flex Direct would be the product that you would use if you did not need down payment or closing cost assistance. Maybe they were a buyer that had purchased before, but now they want to come in. That's a rock bottom interest rate. Very good interest rates on these. The Flex 5,000 would be the product you could use the partner match with. Again, that's $5,000 in down payment and closing cost assistance. The Flex 3,000, that's your money maker. 3% and a 0% interest loan for down payment and closing cost assistance. You can use seller concessions. You can use jurisdictional money. If you get 3% seller concessions and you get 3% down payment assistance, the money they have to come to the table is not a lot. On FHA, they can still do 6% seller concessions on that if they can get that. The 3% grant and the 4% grant, those are outright grants for down payment and closing cost assistance. They are forgiven at closing. Why do I think that 3% loan is your money maker? I like the 3 and the 4% grants, but they are a little bit higher interest rate. If you have a buyer that maybe is coming into town, they're going to stay in town for 3 to 5 years, they would want the grant because they don't have to pay that back with the other fees that have to be paid at closing. But if they were going to put their kids in school, they were going to stay there for a while, you would probably want to offer them the 3% loan. All these products are so important for you to know because these are what you close your deals with. This is how people that are on the fence, that are afraid to go to the lender, that are just unsure, these are the products that you would present to them and let them know that they are available, that it's not as hard as it seems. Advance. Advance. I'm going to talk about a few specialty products that we have today that are awesome, great products. All of these products, I've been a realtor for over 35 years, and these products, I promise, if you know these products, all the products that we're speaking about today, it will increase your income substantially. They're just, I can't tell you enough how important it is to know all of these products and just have them in the back of your head and have the resources and know the resources to go find them. We have a conventional refinance. That's a 97% LTV conventional refinance low program. It's 30-year fixed rate and it's fully amortized, limited cash out. That is an option for you. It's a great interest rate. It is a better interest rate than it was before, but it is a really good interest rate. Advance. Advance. Homeability is another program. It's a disability program. I get a request about once a week, once a month for people asking me if we have a program for disability. This is designed to assist first-time home buyers with disabilities. It's 80% of the purchase price for the first, 25% for the purchase price in a second. That does get paid back. No mortgage insurance on that one, and it's special income requirements. If you're looking into this disability, I suggest you look into all the other programs and see what fits best for your buyer. This does have to be paid back. It is a great program, and it would depend on the market. If you were in an inclining market, that's a great deal. If you are in a declining market, you may want to look at some of the other programs. But it is still a good program. Advance. SmartBuy. I know you have all heard about the student loan program. It came out a few years ago. Governor Hogan gave this program to us. And this and the Homeability are the two programs that get funded through other sources. Most of our programs, I'm sure you're wondering, will we run out of money? No, we don't run out of money for the other programs. And these programs, usually we are funded enough to do these two programs, but everything else is well funded. All loans are sold on the secondary market, and these are no different. When these are sold on the secondary market, the money goes back into the Department of Housing to provide these programs and substantially many other programs that come out of the Department of Housing and Community Development. I'll give you another website to see what other programs the Department of Housing has, and that's dhcd.maryland, spelled out, .gov. SmartBuy 2.0, great program. This is designed to assist first-time home buyers with student debt. This is 80% of the purchase price, 95% of the purchase price in a first lien, up to 15%. Maximum on this, it says $35,000. The maximum is $30,000. And it must pay off the balance of student loans. They cannot do any other loan program. They can do a grant program on this, but they cannot do another loan program on this. The only other program they can use with this is that $5,000 that I spoke about, that $5,000 Advantage, or that Flex program. That's the only other program of ours they can use with this. And that goes in a third place position. Advance. Montgomery County Home Ownership. This program is, this does run out of money pretty fast. So if you have somebody that's moving to Montgomery County, you want to find out when this program is and get to it right away. This offers a down payment assistance of up to 40% of the income purchase price, maximum $25,000. And that does have to be paid back on that, but it does lower their purchase amount. So it does lower their payment. Good program, but when it comes out, it runs out, and it comes out a couple times a year. That is delivered through the Department of Housing of Maryland. Advance. Advance. Maryland Home Credit, we no longer have. That program is no longer available. That is our tax credit program. that is a great program, and I really hope that comes back. Advance. General program requirements. I know you all are wondering, how do they get into these programs? And I'm telling you, it's not as hard as it seems. For FHA loans, credit scores of 640. Remember, all these loans are FHA, conventional, VA, and USDA loans. You can use any of these loans with any of these products. If you have an FHA buyer and they are at 640, they would need 2 months PITI reserves. But all the other programs, they would not need reserves on these programs. VA, USDA, and conventional loan products, they would have 640 credit scores. They would need at least a 640 credit score, but they would not need reserves with those. So only on FHA for 640 would they need the reserves. Everything else is 640 with no reserves. If they have FHA 660 or above, they do not need reserves. Advance. They must have a valid Social Security number and be eligible to work in the United States. Citizenship of the United States is not a requirement to obtain a CDA loan, and everyone on the loan must live in the home, no cosigners. Everybody that lives in the home does not have to be on the loan, though. Advance. Borrowers, whether single or married, if they are married, both spouse, they would be required to, on the income calculation. So if a wife was on the loan and the husband was not on the loan, he would still be required, included in the income qualification. If there was a child and over 18 years of age and not a full-time student, they would be included in the household income. So it is household income on this. They must intend to occupy the property within 60 days, and they cannot own any other property in the world. Advance. Borrower's eligibility. Everybody must, an FHA, an MMP borrower, home buyer, they cannot have any present ownership within the last 3 years. That would be a first-time home buyer qualification. No present ownership in the last 3 years. There are 2 exceptions to that. If a buyer was an honorably discharged veteran and they had never used their DD-214, and this time they want to use their DD-214, but they do not have any present ownership, they would be considered a first-time home buyer. Or anybody purchasing in a targeted area. A targeted area is Baltimore City is a targeted area. There are targeted areas all over the state. If you go onto that website, there is a mapper on that website. You go in there and you put the address in the mapper, and it would come up as either a targeted or USDA or a priority funded area. Advance. Priority funded area, new construction must be done in a priority funded area. And again, you go to that mapper, you can see where those areas are. If you were getting a listing, the first thing I would do is go into that listing, put these into that mapper, and see if they are in, your listing is in a priority funded area or a targeted area or a USDA area. That way you'll know the benefits that you can get from these products. Advance. This is the mapper, but if you go to that website, mmp.maryland.gov, just go up to the search bar and hit mapper, and then you put the address in and you can decipher where it is. Advance. This is what it looks like on there, the mapper. Very easy to do. This website is very easy to maneuver. Income and purchase limits. The income and purchase limits are done by jurisdiction. So every jurisdiction, every county has a different income and purchase limits. This is not these products are not low income products by any means. These are median income products, all of them, every one of them. All of the income purchase limits are over $100,000. Advance. This is what it would look like on there. If you go to that website and you go to the search bar, do income and purchase limits, and it will come up. You can do that all the time and just keep up with it. It will come up frequently. They change frequently. They go up with the cost of living. Be one of the things that you would want to keep with you or screenshot so that you can see it when you're talking to people. What it is. You'll know it. Once you see it, you'll know what they are for the counties that you work in. We don't work in just one county now. We all work in multiple counties. So it's good to know what these income and purchase limits are. Advance. Maximum loan amount is $510,400. Honestly, that is not low income. How many of your first-time home buyers really want to go into a $510,000 house? I mean, there are places like Montgomery County and some that do, but really it's medium income products, and it really will work for probably 75% of your buyers. They're that good. Advance. Eligible properties, maximum lot size is 4 acres. For lots greater than 4 acres, they have to do an exception from CDA. No exceptions over 10 acres, but honestly, if you have something and you think that maybe it deserves an exception, by all means, try to get the exceptions. I've personally gotten an exception on that because it was landlocked on 3 sides. There may only be one way of getting in, so that would deem an exception. They just don't want to put a loan on a property one day and then have somebody subdivide it the next. So, but exceptions are done over there all the time. Don't lose your deal. By all means, try to get the exception. Advance. Eligible housing types: detached, attached, semi-detached, townhomes, modulars, and condominiums. CDA does not do mobile homes, and they do not do 203K loans. Advance. Maryland follows the FHA anti-flipping policy. If any of you don't know what that is 90 days plus 1. If you show a buyer a house and it has a brand new kitchen and it's vacant and brand new bathrooms, it's probably a flip. If you have an FHA buyer, you're definitely going to want to see when that was recorded, because that will make a big difference of when your buyer can contract on that and when your buyer can settle. Advance. Contracts must be fully ratified. CDA reserves the right to, send it back if it's not fully ratified. A lender like Joe will look at that contract and you'll say, have you locked it in? Have you locked it in? Have you locked it in? Joe's not going to lock that loan in until you have done your home inspection and done your appraisal, more than likely, because he only has a certain amount of time to turn it over to the final servicer. And if your buyer decided that they didn't want to do the deal because of the appraisal of the home inspection, there is limits of how soon that they can get back into the program. So he'll know when you do this program when to schedule everything sequentially, but it runs probably 35 to 40 days. Ask your lender how long they take, you know, and it would depend also if the appraisers were backed up. But it doesn't take a lot of time. Advance. Asset restrictions. Liquid assets may not exceed 20% of the home purchase price, not including 401k or retirement. A gift with equity, the difference between appraised value and the purchase price in a non-arm's length transaction, is considered an asset. So what that means is if the grandma was selling a house to the son and she was giving him part of his inheritance in that sale, that would be considered an asset. They would do an asset test on there. A lot of deals do not need asset tests. You can tell by the bank statements that they don't have more than 20%. But if there is even a little bit of a question there, they will do an asset test. Advance. Resources. This is the good part, because this is going to help you close deals. And that is the most important part of what we do. This is what puts the food on the table, or closing deals. So when you have a buyer and they say, you know, I'm waiting to save money, you say, look, we have down payment and closing cost assistance programs. If they say, we have student debt, we have student debt programs. So you want to be familiar with these programs. I do these seminars every day all over the state of Maryland. I do them in offices. I do them for different groups. If you think that this is something your office needs, be happy to come to your office and do it, or do a Zoom call on this. I do it for the boards for CE credit. So if you ever think that you want the full course of this, by all means, get in touch with me and I'm happy to do it for you. The website, again, remember, is mmp.maryland.gov. When you go into this website, you're going to see at the top of your bars, the first thing you'll see is interest rates. You would want to go into that interest rate and you would want to subscribe to those interest rates. Why? Because if you're talking to somebody about these programs, what would be their first question? Their first question is going to be, what are the interest rates? And you can hit your email, show them what the interest rates are for that day, and look like a rock star, because it's right there in front of you. When you go to Advance, when you go to Marketing Tools, you'll see up on that top slide, Advance. When you go to that top slide, you're going to see Marketing Tools. When you go to those Marketing Tools, Advance, you will see everything in there you need to use free of charge for your marketing. Every one of the products that I've talked about today would be there. You can print those out. You can put those with any kind of brochure. You can put those on your Instagram, your Facebook, anything you want to put those, you can use these tools. I would print them out, and if you're doing open houses eventually, I would put them in your open house. That way they can see that they can do this if they like this house, that there are things available to them. Lots of times they come in open houses thinking that they can't do it. And that's, and us just letting them go is an order taker. But showing them the various ways that they can do it is what we want to do. And more times than not, they have to see it. So I would print these out, and I would always keep one with me. You also have the availability to use a calculator in this program. If you go up to that search bar, you can put in calculator, and a calculator will come down, and you can answer a few questions for your buyer right in front of your buyer, and it would tell you the appropriate products that would work for that buyer. Easy. You always want to use your lender. But of course, if you're in an open house, or of course, if you're meeting with somebody and they are on the fence and you want them off the fence, you have these tools at your access to help them. And they're easy. I would always suggest you use that calculator beforehand. Go in there and maneuver a little bit. It's easy, but you know, you always want to do it the first time. All of this is so easy to use. Advance. There's your marketing tools, there's your interest rates, and your calculator. You can see it all right there. these are free of charge. If you go into there and you use it, a lot of times the marketing that we're using now is just too expensive. Use what is free. It works and you can use it. Advance. The interest rates you can find in there also. Advance. Don't forget to use those marketing tools. We have a kit. You can, if you're doing a home, if you're doing a buyer seminar, you want to order these kits. I can give them to you. Usually I've got a ton of them. If I'm anywhere where you're going to be, I can bring them. But you can order these right on the website. They're free of charge. What I do is I get these kits and then I do the printouts. I copy them and I put them in the kits. Works every time, and you've got everything right there at your fingertips. Advance. It talks about the product calculator, how you can use it. And again, I always suggest that you go in and try to use that beforehand, so that way when you get with a buyer, you can click, click, click it. Advance. This is my information. I'm always happy to help you. If you have any questions, by all means, please email me. I'm always around. I'm always happy to answer your questions. I'm usually doing one of these seminars, so it's best that you email me and I will get right back to you. If you would like me to come to your office or schedule a Zoom, happy to do that also. No question is a unnecessary question. Use your lenders. Your lenders, again, remember they're going to be doing the first trust. Remember that the products are 0% interest loans, except for the grant products and the direct products, but they're all accessible. If somebody tells you that they take too long, that is just not true. They are quick, fast, and in a hurry. It does not take maybe a few days more, but that's about it. Advance. I am here for questions.
Okay. Well, thank you, Terry. That presentation was fantastic. It really illustrates how innovative your housing finance agency is, and the services and programs that you provide to the consumers, realtors, and lenders in the state of Maryland are really, really incredible. So we really thank you for joining us today and sharing that information. And for everybody, again, and whoever joined late, you'll be getting a copy of this presentation. So all the information that Terry covered and myself and Monica and what Joe is going to cover, you'll be able to, have a nice takeaway from this presentation. And right now we're going to introduce Joe Procopio of Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. Now, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation is another great partner of Freddie Mac, and also with the Maryland DHCD. And this year, Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation won the RISE Award, which is a prestigious award that Freddie Mac bestows upon lenders for the HFA Advantage origination. So we really, really appreciate what Joe's company does and how they promote Freddie Mac programs. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Joe.
Hi, thank you, MAR members, for joining us today. I know it's a beautiful day outside, and just shows you all your commitment to your industry that you're willing to stay on this call. I know it's a lengthy call. Hopefully you all get something out of it. And I am Joe Procopio. I have been originating loans in the state of Maryland for 36 years, a little over that. And we are Fairway. We're a large national lender with a hometown feel. We are proud to offer Freddie Mac's array of products, and I will be going over some highlights in the next few slides. I won't touch probably any on what Terry already covered, because she gave you everything you pretty much need to know about CDA, otherwise known as MMP, or vice versa, same program. We are a gold tier lender for that. So I'm basically going to start by going over some Freddie Mac highlights here. So Freddie Mac, which is one of the two GSEs in the country that purchases mortgage loans from lenders, little bit different than Fannie Mae, and we'll go over some of those differences. The down payments being offered by Freddie Mac currently 3%, 5%, 10%, 15, 20, anywhere in between that. Obviously, those increments lay out what you'd be paying or your customer would be paying for private mortgage insurance. Putting 20% down or more, of course, there is no PMI required, unlike FHA, which has two tiers. You have the lump sum and the monthly with the FHA. With conventional, with Freddie Mac, you have an array of different levels and hybrid insurance to offer, and it's generally a lot less expensive. I say generally because it's dependent on credit score, unlike FHA where one size fits all. With a conventional loan, the customer is rewarded for their good credit record. Maximum mortgage amounts in the DC MSA, multiple statistical area, 765.6 for a single unit. Baltimore area is 529.50. A lot of the other counties, and I know there's some folks on the call from other counties, 510.4 would be some of those limits as well. Credit score requirements with Freddie Mac are currently 620, although we do use the engine, which Jim touched upon, LPA. Basically, it's artificial intelligence. We input the characteristics of the loan, and it will tell us if it's an accept or a refer, and we go off of those findings. And generally, your lender should be doing that before giving you a credit, a pre-approval letter, I'm sorry. I know we do. It's kind of a must. Seller concessions. What's a seller allowed to pay based on down payment? So for loan to values of 75%, it's 9%, 6% for loan to values between 75 and 90, and 3%, which is for 90 and above, which would cover most of the deals you're probably writing on. Investment properties are limited to at 2%. Next slide, please. As far as more overviews here, give down payment or closing. Second homes require a 10. The income down payments are generally, like I said, 10%. Interest rates are generally the same for a second home. Investment property. We don't have a lot of takers on that because it requires mortgage insurance, and on investment properties, the mortgage insurance does not fall off when it reaches the 78% threshold, where unlike owner-occupied and second homes where it will fall off. There are no income restrictions, no location restriction, and no purchase price restrictions for a Freddie Mac loan. It's just the loan restrictions. Next slide, please. This is kind of a heat map to kind of show you a snapshot of Maryland where our loan limits lie. As you can see, the shaded areas are the highest. The blue areas are 510.4, which covers most of the state. And then, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory there. That's what you're looking at in loan amounts. We can always give you a detailed list to look at of the 23 counties. Next slide, please. Home Possible Mortgage Program. To overcome the down payment barrier, making homeownership more available, Freddie Mac came out with this program a few years ago called the Home Possible Program. It does have a reduced mortgage insurance. It's a 3% down program. The mortgage insurance level, I know you were looking at some charts earlier. For this program, it falls somewhere between the reduced amounts that we can get on a HFA, which is the CDA MMP program, and a regular Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac purchase loan. So it's reduced mortgage insurance. There's also reduced that will come into play, especially on a condominium. Now, there are income limits. It's 80% of AMI, meaning area median income. Area median income is found on basically online. Freddie Mac has a site. Be happy to look those up for you. They do offer no cash out refinancing under the program as well. Very good program. It's been highly successful for us. Advance slide, please. Freddie Mac Borrower Smart Program. This is a pilot program that is offered in not all states. Luckily, Freddie Mac chose Maryland as one of the states. This is a program that we're provided and happy to participate in it. It is basically free money with no recapture on it. There's two levels of it, $1,500 for very low incomes of 50% area median income. And for the 80% area median income, it's $1,000. The borrower must take a counseling class. It's very easy. It's a phone call that we set up, and it's not an 8-hour class. It's quite a bit shorter than that. But it's been wildly successful here in Maryland. Next slide, please. As an answer to the aging housing stock that we have in our country, Freddie Mac has come out with a choice renovation. A lot of folks have heard of the FHA 203K, which is highly used for rehabs. But Freddie Mac offers this choice for both investors and owner occupants. For investment properties, obviously it's a 20% down payment. But for an owner occupant, it can be as low as 3% for loan amounts of 510, 450 and below. It does again run through the LPA engine. They do 1 to 4 unit properties, 1 unit second homes, and 1 unit investment properties. It's a one-time close with a holdback for the repairs. Very similar to other types of renovation products. Again, love to give you more information on that. If you're interested, I'll have a slide at the end with my phone number and how to contact me, my website. Our way is the fair way. We keep the process as simple as possible. We take applications over the phone, in person. Right now with COVID, that's by appointment only. However, that hasn't slowed us down any. We're actually having record-setting months with COVID and working from our homes, just like you all probably are, other than the disadvantage of you all still have to show properties. So you're still meeting customers. We're offering e-close. We're starting to really push that because it's a little more accurate way to close your bar and get the documents recorded a little more efficiently. We offer fixed and adjustable rate mortgages. Did I just say adjustable rate mortgages? Because I haven't seen one of those in a while. FHA and conventional loans for first-time buyers, jumbo financing, USDA financing, refinancing options. Next slide. This is my contact information. We're going to go into Q&A and be happy to answer any questions. Please take down my email address because I am available, as well as my assistant, to answer any questions, to research anything for you, and I'd be love to deal with more of you. Thanks again for the opportunity, and enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. We really appreciate the partnership with Fairway Mortgage and yourself, and for our realtor audience out there, we all know that you have lenders that you have relationships with, but diversity is great. So please, after this presentation, contact Joe, get him on your lender list. We're spotlighting him in the Fairway today because they do get the deals done, and and these Freddie Mac programs are really, really important for the lending ecosystem in Maryland. So again, please contact Joe after this, and he'll get the closings there done for you. And okay, and now we're going into the home stretch here, bringing Monica back. She's got some really important tools and resources that Freddie Mac provides to realtors. And like I said earlier, you'll get a copy of this, so you don't have to, copy down all the website links that Monica is going to give to you right now. So, Monica, time is yours.
Thanks, Jim. I know we've got a couple questions in the Q&A, so I'll make this quick. Like Jim mentioned, you will get a copy of this presentation. There's going to be a lot of tools and resources that I'm going to cover now. Everything that I cover is free to you, so you'll definitely want to take advantage of these. Now, our first one is
Monica, your microphone is really distorted.
Let me unplug and plug back in. Bear with me one moment. Is that better?
I'm still hearing distortion. Lori, Joe, and Terry, are you hearing it?
Yes.
Yes, there is distortion.
Let me try to completely unplug. Okay, I'm using my external speaker and mic on the computer. Can you hear me?
It's still distorted.
Okay, I unmuted and muted myself again. No?
You're fine
Still?
now. You're fine.
Weird. Okay. Apologize about that. This is the world we live in now.
Yeah, the virtual world.
So our first resource is My Home. Now, My Home by Freddie Mac, it's a consumer-facing website. It provides answers to common questions related to home ownership. It has infographics, quizzes, and that resources that your buyers can use to gain knowledge about the home buying process. It's a great tool to use after an open house. When following up with those who attended, include this website in an email. Potential buyers can view at their own pace and without ads. It's also a great website to use to post on your social media to fish for more buyers. You want to remind your followers that you are the go-to when it comes time to buying a home. The website also has information for consumers looking to rent, refinance, or sell. Now, we offer many tools and resources here at Freddie Mac, but one of my favorites is Credit Smart. Now, Credit Smart teaches consumers how to make sound financial decisions about home ownership. Not only does it help you understand how to purchase a home, it actually helps homeowners avoid foreclosure. There's 12 modules covering topics ranging from restoring your credit, closing on a loan, avoiding credit traps. There's definitely a lot of useful information for your buyers here. Maybe you have a buyer who needs help saving for that 3% down. Credit Smart actually has budget worksheets that your buyers can download to create their own savings plan. We talked a lot about how credit was important earlier. There's a whole module dedicated to restoring your credit. It actually has actionable takeaways that your buyers can start doing to get on the right path towards restoring their credit. We also offer a Credit Smart Train the Trainer program where you as a real estate professional can become certified to teach Credit Smart in your community. It's free to get certified. All you have to do is sign up, go to the link here, sign up to receive notifications from our Credit Smart. You'll get dates and times of when that's going to be happening virtually in 2021. We also have a Credit Smart Homebuyer U. Now, like Credit Smart, it teaches it's important education, but this actually walks the buyers through the home buying process. Again, it's free. It takes about 3 hours. You could do it actually using your iPhone. You can start and stop whenever you want. Maybe your buyer's on their lunch break. They want to do 30 minutes on their phone in their car during lunch break. Go home, turn on your computer, sign in, and pick up exactly right where you left off. This is free, and it satisfies the Homebuyer Education requirement for buyers seeking to use Home Possible or HomeOne. As soon as they complete the course, the certificate is sent to their lender of choice and you as a real estate professional. So very useful free resource there. Now, we all know that saving for a down payment is one of the largest barriers to home ownership. So we've partnered with a company called Down Payment Resources. And basically, they offer down payment information where you or your buyers can go to gain knowledge about down payment assistance in your area. I encourage you to visit the website and enter the address of one of your listings. You may be, surprised to learn that the house you're selling may be eligible for some free money. Now, we partner with our sister company, Fannie Mae, and our regulator, FHFA, to create an online industry standard clearinghouse of translated documents. Together, we've translated over 500 mortgage documents into traditional Chinese, Spanish, Vietnamese, Korean, Tagalog, and I believe Vietnamese. And so, we talked earlier about how the demographics of the U.S. are shifting, and it's really important that we provide tools like this to make home possible for all. Visit the website. It'd be great for you to learn a new industry term in a new language. Now, I want to remind you that everything we covered here today is free to you. We don't sell anything. We can't market to your buyers. We are truly here to be your partner to make home possible. So I ask that you stay connected with us by subscribing to our Real Estate Professionals Resource Center. Now, what we share in our emails are key insights, industry trends, and upcoming events to keep you informed. To subscribe, you're going to visit freddiemac.com/real estate pros. When you get there, you're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page. You're going to see a little box that says, email address. Just put your email address in there and click sign up. Now, I want to thank you so much for your time today. I really hope that we provided some actionable takeaways that can help you reach more buyers and grow your business. You are the critical link in the home buying process. You are the trusted advisor. You are the one making the dream of homeownership possible for so many out there. We are your cheerleaders on the sideline watching. So I'll go back to Jim. I know we got some Q&A questions there. Just as a reminder, we will send this presentation out. If you have any more questions, just look for us in the chat box there. Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Monica. Great overview. Joe and Terry, if you can turn your cameras on and unmute yourselves, we'll go into the Q&A now. And Laurie, if you want to check out the Q&A box for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys did such a phenomenal job of presenting this information. You answered most of the questions as you went along, so good job on that. We do have a number of participants who have raised their hand, and unfortunately in this format we're not really prepared to facilitate those great conversations. So if you have your hand raised, I encourage you to type a question in the chat or reach out to our presenters directly. That was the most popular question, is about the slides in the presentation. So yes, we will send a PDF of all of these slides, a link to the recorded webinar, and contact information for all of the panelists to everyone who registered for today's webinar. So I will go down just a few of these questions. Jim, how can agents enroll to complete BPOs if they were interested?
BPOs?
Yeah,
broker price opinions?
I think so, yeah. Is that something that Freddie Mac participates or facilitates?
Not that I know of. Terry, does your agency partake in broker price opinions?
No, only the agents do that. So any individual agents are the only ones that do that.
Yeah.
And they can do that through Bright also. Bright has a system they can do that through, but only through agents and appraisers.
Okay. And Terry, this question came in when you were presenting. No more than 20% as a gift, correct?
That would be a Joe question. They can do as much as is allowable by the lender.
Okay.
And Joe, okay, Joe, you're on mute.
Gift can be more than 20%, yes.
Okay, and I think this is probably a Joe question as well, in relation to what's going on in the market right now. With cash being used frequently and a lot of multiple offer situations, are sellers accepting contracts with MMP and some of these, buyer programs?
That's probably Joe and Terry, and I'll say yes, we are definitely seeing it.
Lori, I will say that this is the most important time for MMP in these programs because sellers sometimes don't have to provide down payment and closing cost assistance because there's multiple contracts. So if they have another source, such as MMP, it gives them a little bit of a boost if they don't have to use seller concessions. They can bump it up a little bit, the price a little bit, and then use MMP, and they can still get down in with very little money.
And then the other thing that was brought up in the chat, not so much of a question, but maybe you could address this. Terry, that lenders are quoting 45 to 60 days to close for MMP, and I guess discouraging buyers. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, as a realtor of 35 years, I can tell you that's just not so. It's just not so. I personally write it for 40 days, between 35 and 40 days. Joe can tell you how many days it would take him, but I guarantee you Joe's not going to say 60 days. He's probably going to say around 40. Joe, what do you say?
I actually answered that question in the chat, and I said in most cases, 99% of the time, 35 to 40 days. Condo may hold that up a little bit, depending, because some of these questionnaires are taking a while to come back from the management companies. And then you got to get the condo approved. But other than that, it like Terry said, it only adds a few days to the process going to CDA because they're super quick turning it around with underwriting.
That's great information. That refutes those myths that are out there on the street. So great, Terry and Joe.
Let's see here. We've got a few more coming in. There's some of them that we'll just respond to by typing answers in the chat in terms of website links for signing up for certain things. Can you please reiterate or just touch back on qualification for buyers in terms of co-buyers, household residents, that type of thing? That seems to be a theme of question.
Is that me? Is that?
Yeah, that could be you or Joe.
So a household buyer, it would be household income is what it would be, household income. So it would be the husband and wife, if they were living in the property, that would be their combined income. If it was a wife and her mother, it would be their combined income. If it was a wife and a child, whoever is in the household that is above 18 years of age would be what the qualified income would be. So they use household income. Now listen, who lives in that house, the old house, may not be who will be living in the new house. So make sure you're very clear who will be purchasing the new home. So if they say who's living in your home now, the same people may not be buying the new home. So make sure you're very clear.
I'll say this, with down payment assistance programs or affordable programs, generally, I haven't seen one that'll, if the question, I read the question a little different. If you're asking about a non-occupant co-borrower, that's not possible. The buyers must be occupants. And with CDA, they're looking at household income. With the Home Possible program, which I touched on, it's not household income, it's whoever is applying for the loan.
Correct.
Hope that makes sense. Hope that answered that question. I was a little the question.
I think that's one that we see a lot.
Remember, no co-borrowers, only owner occupied.
Absolutely. We did have a question or a comment about resources in Spanish. I know Monica touched on some of the multilingual options available, but can you guys address resources for
the website
multilingual?
Our website does convert to, I think, Vietnamese, Spanish, various different ones. The kits that I spoke about, they come in Spanish also. So if you're requesting those kits, you can get those in Spanish, but the website also converts bilingually. Okay,
perfect. Obviously, other than lots and lots of thank yous for all of the information to our presenters, that kind of wraps up the bulk of the questions. Again, I will tell you that contact information for all of our panelists will be sent out to everyone. So you'll have ample opportunity to connect with them, get more information, perhaps invite them to your broker office meeting or your own association to get more information. So with that, we will wrap up today's webinar. Thank you again to all of our panelists, and thank you to all of our Realtor members for joining us today.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Freddie Mac, and thank you to our attendees. And as a final note, I just will say on November 12th, we are going to have the pleasure of having Jessica Lutz from NAR present the first the annual profile of home buyers and sellers. This is going to be the first it's seen anywhere. So I hope everybody can tune in next November 12th at 1 p.m. for that webinar. It should be a good one. We'll send out more information later. Everybody have a lovely day.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.